Kyle, for the first time, our evilness feels like it's lessening. It doesn't
Just
feel
a little bit less evil. Just a little less evil.
But we're still slightly there. Evil Pacers Recap Live here with you. Derek Kramer, your host, my co-host over there, Kyle Taylor. It looked like they were trying to kind of make this game a little less fun than it should have been there for a while. We'll get into all of that. The Pacers had a 19-point lead. They give it all back. Then Andrew Nembhard makes some huge shots. Ben Mathurin hits a three. Ethan Thompson just making play after play after play, all these little things that he's continuing to do in these last couple games. They won a basketball game that we were going live after. We are not the problem, Kyle. How does it feel?
Our first win. And you know what? We also didn't even pull up the Tankathon page. Perhaps much to the chagrin of some Pacers fans, no Tankathon spin today. I'm feeling a little chillier. You know, the hellfires are not raging quite so close at hand. I don't think we're out in the cold winter air of the NBA, heart of the NBA season, but that was nice to see. The third quarter was obviously a complete disaster. Furphy, Walker, Matthews should never see the light of day again. Rick may be doing his best tank commander impression, but the Pacers' best three players saved him.
Had to be. Shout out my good friend Kevin. He usually watches these in the morning. He's up. He's up like Donald Sloan. I love to see it. Love to see it. Staying awake for us here after a win. Yeah, I don't know the last time I saw the Pacers start with an all-bench lineup to start a fourth quarter, especially in a situation where they had already been hemorrhaging that 19-point lead. It had already been cut to 4. And then Carlisle goes to that all-bench group with Garrison Matthews, Johnny Furphy, Jarris Walker, Isaiah Jackson, TJ McConnell. I don't know the last time he didn't have Pascal to start the fourth. And maybe it was part of we want to try this. We want to just save all of our guys and just play the best lineup for the last 8 minutes of the game. But it felt very tank commander in chiefy, and it was a little dicey. Even after the starters came in, it took them a minute to get things going. It was interesting. It was very interesting that he stuck with that lineup and stuck with it as long as he did. But the Pacers got to win. They got to win.
I appreciate you being, I'm smiling because I appreciate you being such a reliable, benefit of the doubt member of the Indianapolis media. Just thinking Rick Carlisle, there must be something up his sleeve. No, that was a terrible decision. It was a bad decision. It was obviously bad. We all knew it was bad. And the best players bailed the team out. Because obviously, you put players on the court, the players are going to try and win the game. Every athlete's going to try and win. And Rick just was putting the guys out there who couldn't quite. I mean, Furphy, I want to give him a little bit of a, I don't know that we're going to talk about him in our awards section, but Furphy looking a little bit rough. Jarris with some moments, Matthews with some moments, but some of those guys who just haven't played as much look like they haven't played as much. And it made all the difference in the world when they got the guys back in there who know how to play together, who know even just, there are so many. Ben Mathurin on offense, I'm gaining greater and greater appreciation for his offensive game. When to cut through. Pascal is like a conductor, pointing, Ethan Thompson, telling him where to stand, where to run on a play, and the main guys come back in there. And I think this comment is just on the money. That is exactly what the optimum outcome, like the great version of this team where Mathurin and Nembhard are both most improved player candidates. That's what it looks like.
Very true. Like, this is the kind of win, if you're going to see the wins that you want to see. You see all the good players have great moments in the game, and then you see a couple young guys pop. And Ethan Thompson, especially in these last 2 wins, has been a revelation, as Bob here says. It's fantastic to see they got this guy just straight from the G League, swapped him out with Ray J. Dennis on the 2-way contract, and he's really performed with his first 2 real opportunities in the rotation, and this game's starting. That end of the game I just thought was just awesome. Like he wasn't ever doing anything crazy. Like he had some like very impressive like offensive moments of doing some things in the first game where he had that little Penny Hardaway spin, step back, hit the 2-point shot in the first one. But this one, it was just like he found a role, like just being that fifth starter and just doing all of the hustle things, like the 2 offensive rebounds in a row, which I think resulted in the Pascal 2
layup.
up 7, and then he got another offensive rebound later. He got the stop on DeRozan. Like anytime you can get a stop on DeMar DeRozan without fouling him when he's driving towards you at the basket, that's a win. And then he still was able to like also fight for that rebound and tip it to a teammate. You just can't say enough about what Ethan Thompson was able to do, and especially for a guy who hasn't been with the team that long. And you can just tell like Rick gave the compliment to JRE that like you can just tell he's a winning player. Like even when he wasn't hitting shots, like Ethan Thompson, like he knows, you can tell he just knows how to play basketball. Like he has a good feel for the game. When he's on defense, you can see when it's a scramble and like somebody needs to find like who the missing guy is. Like he's like, oh, I need to run over here real quick and cover this guy that's missing.
Yeah, he was playing very aggressively off ball. It was interesting to watch him take such big risks. And I think, honestly, sometimes it worked and sometimes it just left shooters wide open. But he was like trying to make something happen. And then obviously at the end with the offensive rebounds, I think he's realizing like, I'm not really going to get the ball. But
this is my chance to get the ball.
But he's thinking like, he's just hooping, right? He's just out there on the court playing the game, and it's like, what can I do to give my team a chance? This is what I can do to give my team the chance, and that's what I mean. Like after that sequence, Doug Christie called the timeout. He's running off the court, and TJ, you could tell, was super fired up for him. And that's just like we've talked about this with Jarris Walker and Ben Shepherd in different ways. But if you're going to learn something from TJ McConnell, it is that unceasing commitment to compete. And he brought it at the end of the game, and they closed the door. Before we do our awards, I think this is a really, really important question that Bob asked. Where should Furphy go for his 21st? Shout out Tyrese Halliburton, my opinion, best fit of the season, wearing the throwback pinstripe Furphy jersey. I mean, I was loving that. I love the pinstripes just in general. So I see the pinstripes and my heart gets warm on the inside. I like my affinity for the ABA ball, but Furphy's 21st. I mean, when I turned 21, I was in college, and I did not go to school in Indianapolis. Brothers and Kilroy's obviously are the places. Those are the kind of places that I went around that time. What are we thinking for Furphy?
I'm literally the worst person in the world to ask this question. Like, I don't drink, I don't go out, I do nothing, like never like have. So like this is like I have no tips for you, Johnny Furphy. You're a grown man now, though, so I'm gonna call you John Furf. We're dropping the lies. John Furf.
John. At what point do you transition from Johnny to John?
It's a great question. I don't like, when is that in the cards? You're 21
40s? Now. I know. I think 40s. You become 40s? John.
So his whole playing career, most likely, he's just Johnny. Maybe I feel like 30s? It's hard once you come into the NBA. I feel like it's hard to make that switch.
It's true.
To drop the NY from the Johnny.
Yeah, the chat will have to suggest where he can go for his 21st. Do you want to talk more about the game or go awards?
I think we can go ahead and go into awards, and we'll hit more on the game as we go. All right, these are the TJ Awards, because the Pacers have had every TJ in the NBA in its existence, and there are also secret TJs on the roster, like Tyrese John Halliburton, Talon Joseph Peter, Tony Bradley Jr., many TJs on the team. Our opening award here is the Mr. Pacer Award. The nominees for the Tyrese John Halliburton Award tonight. Kyle, I'll let you give the first one today.
I feel like the fire is a bit, again, like the ominous music, the fire. I feel
It
like
doesn't fit today. It doesn't fit.
doesn't fit,
It
and
feels good that it doesn't fit.
yeah, it does feel good for a change. I was smiling. I was like pumping my fist as Andrew Nemhard finally took the lid off the basket. He's going to be my Mr. Pacer. I thought he just had a really nice all around game. I felt most of all, I am when he starts looking for his shot before he's gotten going, not a fan. Especially when it's like early shot clock, looking for the midi. This is not what I want to see. But in this game, he's driving to the basket. He's like working around screens really well. He threw some really nice passes, like a full court pass to Garrison Matthews, I think, early on in the game, if I'm remembering that well.
That was the 4-point play.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Garrison was like, great pass, right immediately after it.
Yeah, it was an awesome pass, and he just in general, I thought like season high in assists, right? Was it 13 assists, 12 assists?
Yeah.
Shot the ball really well, but it's the getting to the basket for me. And like he had the almost decel move, middle of the fourth quarter, I think, and then the actual decel move later on. Love the decel. I've been begging Nemhard to like mix in different speeds and rhythms in his short to long mid-range game. I love that. I think it wasn't quite a pulling of the chair. If you're chest to chest with someone and you pull out of the way as he did to Westbrook, it's not quite a pulling of the chair, but he did get Westbrook on one too. Anyway, I've got nothing but good things to say about Nemhard. But there are multiple valid players of the game, which also feels nice for a change.
It does, yes. We're not at the point of the year where we're like seriously nominating guys like Ray J. Dennis, because that's just how dark the game
Former
was.
winner of the Tyrese John Halliburton Award. Don't slander that.
Yes. So you could see why I have the background, because we were doing those type of things early in the year. Yeah, I agree that Andrew Nemhard is definitely a deserved candidate. His 8 points in that run where they took the lead back and that sealed it. The 2 threes that he hit there. I know exactly the moves you're talking about. Like he went through Keegan Murray and kind of hit a little floater. And then towards the end of the game, I think he hit like the real decel that you're talking about as well. He was just awesome in the third quarter. The 12 assists, great. I'll nominate, I'm very tempted to just nominate Ethan Thompson for everything because he's very fun to talk about right now.
I don't think you can do this award. No, come on. There are
this award. No, I'm not going to
do it for this one.
And if you have any opinions in the chat of who should get this award, please give them to us. You're the vote. You're the deciding factor between us two. I'm going to give it to Ben Mathurin in this one. I think it's between him or Pascal, both deserving of this. But Ben's offense, as you mentioned earlier, is just awesome. His shooting continues to be just really great. And it's just constant, just great timing of whenever they need the shots, he's finding the buckets. He hit the 3, I think that actually gave them the lead.
Yep.
Because Nemhard hit the first 3, and then just nobody on the Kings decided that they wanted to guard him, and he just kind of walked up and made the easiest pull-up 3 that you'll see in the fourth quarter of a close game in your life. DeRozan's just he's right next to Pascal, so he can't be the one to go get him, and he's just somebody please, and it just never happens. Most of this game, it really just felt like the Kings are very bad, and they don't seem to care that they're very bad. That was my general impression of the Kings for most of that game, other than Westbrook, who cares, but also he's going to have his moments where things don't go exactly right. And he was good in this game, but that was my impression of the Kings in this game. It's just they're bad and they don't seem to care that that's the case.
I love Russ. This is
I enjoy Russell Westbrook.
If I don't care if it's right or wrong, if loving Russell Westbrook is wrong, then I if he has, if there are no fans of his left on earth, that means I'm not here anymore. He's such a competitor. I love that he's trash talking all the time. I was hoping, listen, I didn't really want to see it, but I kind of always want to see it, rock the baby on TJ. And then TJ gets going. I was kind of hoping for that. We didn't get it. He was, I know what you're saying. And the Kings are just kind of in a sad I mean, they're losing to everybody. It's a disaster out there.
Yeah. So anytime we say like it couldn't be worse, the Pacers aren't the Bulls, they aren't the Kings. So that alone, it could
I mean,
be worse.
I mean, the Kings. It's dire for them. I really feel for their fans. I loved watching the Beam team a few years ago when they got knocked out by Golden State. I was heartbroken for them. That was an awesome team. I love Fox as well. Very sad, but Mathurin especially. I mean, his first quarter, he was sublime.
Awesome. Yep.
Just so under control. He had a drive on Keegan Murray where and later in the game he did try to draw the foul and drive, but he had a drive on Keegan Murray where he just went straight up through the contact and finished over him. Keegan's a long defender. He's that's a really good take. Yeah, the defense with Mathurin, he's getting back cut. He's getting blown by. Like that also happened to him in this game, but
I need to pay more attention to his defense. Like Rick has said in the past, I don't know what he said after tonight, but he has said in the past that like he's doing a lot more like positive things on that end. He's making important contributions on the defensive end. I need to just take a game and just like hone in on him defensively. I feel like he was on Russ for some of that stuff where Russ started to get things going a bit, but again, I need to like really watch.
Yeah, I don't think I mean, it's just a slow and steady improvement for him on the defensive end. Mm-hmm. And some of his like glaring faults remain faults. Like the screen navigation a couple times every game, that's
always been the biggest one for me.
Yeah, he's just going to get absolutely eaten up by the screen, kind of lazily point, and it's just going to be an easy bucket for the other team. The back cut thing, that used to be more of a problem. Again, these are like I feel
better.
Like
they don't happen as much.
Right. I'm like wired to look for it, so I see it, but it's certainly not happening as often as it used to.
Yeah. And really just the fact that I'm not noticing it and without looking for it is probably a good sign, because before I wouldn't be looking for it and I would just notice it constantly. Yeah.
It would just happen. Yeah.
Nominate the next one.
Oh, I mean, if you're going to give me the opportunity to nominate,
I'll let you do it.
Ethan Thompson for the Hype Train Award. I am not. You don't need to ask twice. Ethan Thompson, you are the Edmund Sumner / Taylor Joseph Peter Hype Train Award winner. His interview with Jeremiah Johnson after the Bulls game was one of the most or in the middle of the Bulls game, I should say, at halftime.
Yes.
Was one of the most heartwarming player interviews I've seen in a very long time. Though, to be fair, Fernando Mendoza, heartwarming in a different way, post-game of the OSU Big Ten Championship, different kind of heartwarming. But to see a guy like Ethan Thompson, middle of his 20s, and hasn't had an NBA, like a pro opportunity, first half of that game comes in and just plays. He, even in his wildest dreams, he's probably thinking don't mess up. Maybe I can hit a basket. He was great in that game. He makes winning plays at the end of this game. His interview with Jeremiah Johnson just made me smile. And I hope that whether he's got media availability tonight or if someone catches him tomorrow or sometime this week, I'm rooting for him. And I'm excited that he's been able to, at this stage in his career, have this opportunity and seize it, because frankly, some of the other Pacers young players not seizing the opportunity. He has been.
Yes.
I'm loving it. I'm loving it.
Like that's one of the biggest reasons why it feels like we're starting to get out of this kind of hellish scene that I put myself in.
Ethan Thompson saving us from hell.
Just the idea of we're having young players and they're popping. They're taking advantage of that opportunity. And like we've said in the past, that's when this year becomes a lost year if nobody's doing that. So Kevin brought up the Reese Pieces and ET. Yes, absolutely. If he's on the team next year, that's the thing. We don't even know, but he's a two-way guy. So usually you don't see those two-way guys kind of get poached in free agency by other teams. So very hopeful that he's going to find his way. If he plays like this, there's no reason to think he's not going to play his way into a standard deal or something like that. Phone home, young man, phone home. You've had a couple nice games. to talk about with your family. All right. My nominee for this award, I needed his minutes like water. He's giving me slowly. He's just giving me little drips. I was very dehydrated. So he's
You
just
must still be
slowly easing back
dehydrated
in.
if you're taking Johnny Furphy in this spot.
I'm taking Johnny Furphy in this spot. I'm going to give you 4 different plays for Johnny Furphy in this game. 4. I got to remember them all. But
yeah, it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard to remember them all. So I'm on the edge of my seat.
There are 3 defensive plays in this game because that is usually where Johnny Furphy pops, is on the defensive end. His offensive play, he took a 3, immediately caught the ball, shot it, it went in. And then he also took another 3-pointer where he should have passed the ball.
I thought it was going to be an air ball.
Should have passed the ball to Pascal Siakam. But it was good to see him just look at the rim. Like, that is progress. I feel like in his early couple games back, not even looking at the basket. All the 3 others, defensive plays that he made stops on, all 3 of the Kings, high-level name guys. Got the steal on Zach LaVine, where he clearly did not know, Johnny Furphy's going to provide resistance when I try to drive at him. And LaVine ended up just falling over. It looked like the Drew Holiday type of steal, where he just Johnny Furphy kind of bodied him up, got the steal, is off to the races.
Good shout. That was a good, Drew Holiday. That's a good shout for that play.
Thank you. And he got a stop on Russell Westbrook in maybe the 4th quarter during that run where all of the bench guys should have been in there. And he also forced DeMar DeRozan to travel on a drive. So there you go. 4 plays, keeping me hydrated, just slowly, drips of water. I mean, giving me some hydration.
Rick, I think you're in the desert. I think Indiana needs precipitation. I think that
you're too harsh. It's
an arid climate where you're living right now, and I hope for a rainfall, not an oasis, but a consistent rainfall, because
it's his birthday. Tyrese is wearing his jersey, pinstripes. He gave me some glimpses. That's all I need right now. Eventually, I'll need more. Right now, he's giving me glimpses. That's what the hype train's about.
The DeMar stand-up play was
all
cool.
aboard. It hasn't taken off yet. We're still boarding.
You're still boarding. The train is firmly in the station. The departure time might not be on the screen, but people are milling about, and some people are on the train. I love the DeMar stand-up play because he's reaching a little bit, and then Rick, you can see on the sideline, is yelling at him to have flat hands, to flatten out his arms one-on-one, and he immediately does it. DeMar immediately tries to drive by him, and it doesn't work, and he travels. It was awesome.
Exactly. Thank you.
I'm attempting to provide hydration because I'm worried about your health.
I don't drink enough water, clearly. Okay, for the final TJ award of the night, I will do the TJ McConnell award.
You're going to do it again.
I'm going to do it. Ethan Thompson. He just deserves it. I mean, I can't. That's the award that fits the most. I don't care that he just got the Hype Train award. He's getting a twofer from me tonight. Well, I guess I only nominated him for this one. But yeah, I mean, just the constant hustle plays in the 4th quarter when the Pacers were putting the game out of the reach. Just every time the Pacers were taking a shot and he was crashing from the corner, running towards the elbow, he was beating every King to the basketball for those rebounds. The one time he got the 2 rebounds in a row, if Pascal would have missed the layup, he was right there to get it. Would have been 3 in a row, and he would have had an easy layup himself. So Ethan Thompson, we've talked a bunch about you already, but you're my nominee for the TJ McConnell award as well.
Absolutely deserved. He is obviously the right answer to this question. I'm going to go dark horse candidate for the Hustle Award, and I'm going to go with Jay Huff, who blocked a 3, the 3 that he blocked. Okay, this is probably a 27 footer. I don't know. It was a deep 3, and he is, well under the 3-point line. Crazy closeout to get a finger on it. That's all he does. He gets a finger on it, but it falls 5 feet short. That was an awesome play. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, not once, but twice did 7-foot tall Jay Huff get on the court on the ground to dive for a loose ball. That I really like to see. We've talked about like conditioning with him in the past. I'm not going to argue that he was like, that his effort was difference making in the way that Ethan Thompson's was. By the way, a friend of mine just asked me if I'm buying an Ethan Thompson jersey. If you want to know how far out of the station the Ethan Thompson hype train is, that train, maybe it's going to derail. No one
who's
knows
already
where
bought a Johnny Furphy jersey. You know who's already bought one?
Have you?
No, but Tyrese Halliburton has a nice pinstripe one.
Your favorite player's favorite player is definitely Johnny Furphy on the Pacers, but no, J-Huff is going to be my definitely tier 2 Ethan Thompson, tier 2 to Ethan Thompson hustle award. But get on the floor, block a 3 from way like a crazy closeout, almost Victor Wembanyama like. Dare I make the comparison?
Hey, he's blocking more shots than Wemby. He has more
Well,
full
Wemby
block
is
games.
not playing, so that's
he has more 4 block games than Wemby too, which obviously he hasn't been playing, but still
he's not been playing. Yeah, but
he was blocking more shots per minute, as we heard multiple times on the NBA Prime broadcast, than Wemby was.
Yeah. Yeah. The broadcast, like I appreciate how Chris Denari has like a full page. Mm-hmm. And sometimes he'll show the full page and he's gone through every player and he's got him in pen, where they went to college, some fact about him, and he'll do it for the other team too. Really appreciate Chris. Shout out Chris. Stan Van Gundy had one fact. One fact, came to the game with one stat for the whole team.
He loved
it. It was J-Huff blocks per minute. It was a good stat. It got cut through the noise. The home broadcast, though, I appreciate the more thorough research that we get from Chris Denari.
Yes. It was a great stat, but yeah, they loved it a little too much, but it was a good stat. We'll give him some credit for that. Anything else from this game? I will say Isaiah Jackson had a nice block that was similar to J-Huff's at the 3-point line. Hustled right out there, got Malik Monk on the shot. They're both from Kentucky, so Malik's kind of laughing about it, which was also another reason where it kind of felt like, I don't think the Kings really care. It's just what it felt like. Like anytime something went wrong, or even if they like hit a 3 to cut it to 17 and Zach LaVine's like smiling, I don't know. It just doesn't. I feel really bad for Kings fans, and we've already talked about that, but it's rough. They're a rough watch, even though they made this one interesting. All right. Since we're still trying to escape hell, the Daniel Jones unfortunate Achilles injury kind of inspired this. My friend Kevin that's in the chat tonight, we were talking about it, and it was just like what is the worst Achilles injury? Is it worse to have it at the final moment in a game 7? But then you get all of those moments. I think viscerally, yes. But if you have it at the beginning, then it just takes away all hope. I think it's easily game 7. But then if you have it in the middle of the season, you don't get any of the good stuff that comes after it. But you don't know it. You don't know that you lost all of that. I think it's easily game 7. But if he got hurt before that, then we don't have any of the journey.
Yes. But the question here, the thing that we're trying to rid the city and all of our fandoms of evil. Okay, that's what we're trying to get rid of. We're trying to purge the evil out of our systems. And when we're talking about heartbreak, like the heartbreaking nature of sports, the heartbreak is obviously like it's not even a conversation. I can't even believe you entertained the Daniel Jones one being worse.
No,
like that's just.
I didn't say it was worse.
You were kind of both sidesing the issue here. We're no both sides on this one. No both sides.
Fair. Okay. So anyway, what we're doing is we're just gonna rank our personal top 5. We root for some different teams, so we're just gonna rank our personal top 5 to try to expel the evil, get it out of all the fever injuries that have been there. The Colts injuries, now they're trying to potentially reunite with Phillip Rivers to try to salvage this season. Just whatever they can do. So we're going to try to just kind of purge the evil, get rid of the evil. So maybe the next time we're on, maybe we'll escape hell. We don't know. So
Don't get ahead
we'll
of yourself.
just go back and forth, start at 5, work our way up.
Yeah, that works for me.
All right, I'll let you go with 5 first.
Ooh, I have a lot of honorable mentions we can get to at the end, but the first one is going to be a personal one. I won't spend too much time on it. I went to Davidson College, Steph Curry's alma mater. Davidson College has not won any NCAA tournament games since Steph Curry graduated. And in 2013, they came extremely, extremely close. They were leading Marquette by 7 with like 37 seconds to go. And in an anti 20, 24, 25 Pacers away, they absolutely collapsed and threw the game away. And not only did they lose that game, they haven't won any game in the last 10 years in the tournament. Campus that day was, I mean, people just were sitting in like common areas, not even speaking. No, people weren't angry. It was just silent.
Yeah, I could see why that would be one. 5 for me. No longer really into baseball at all. But when I was, this would have been like end of middle school, start of high school. The Cubs were my baseball team for a long time until I just couldn't do it anymore. I did not hop back
Heartbreaking
on
in
the.
its own way
I
to
didn't.
hear you say that sentence.
I know. I didn't hop back on the bandwagon when they won the World Series. It just didn't feel right. I didn't stick with them through all of it, so I didn't hop back on. But the Bartman game in 2003 is definitely up there still, and yeah, it's just seeing. I still remember Moises Alou. Still picture that fresh in my mind. The error by the shortstop, all just that whole game, really.
My fourth most heartbreaking moment as a fan, Peyton Manning's pick 6 in the Super Bowl.
I
Horrible.
have some Peyton Manning related ones too.
I mean, I thought they were, first of all, I thought they were going to win that whole season. I thought they were the best team. Even when they went down in that game, I believed that they were going to come back and win, and I just couldn't believe it. I could not believe what I was watching. It was more like the Devin Hester return for a touchdown to start this, 2006 Super Bowl. I was like, what the heck is happening? This Bears team is not that good. We're going to win this game. And then, of course, they did. The pick 6 was like, I felt like I lost something. Like Peyton Manning is not supposed to do that to me.
And that's like the route on that play is like one that like you just see him throw that exact route and that exact play like so many times, like probably 10 times a game it felt like. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll go football next. The Broncos just for some reason became my team because when I was younger, the person that my mom was seeing at the time was a big Elway fan. So I became an Elway fan and a Bronco fan, and I just stuck with that. Some Peyton related when he went to the Broncos. I'll just kind of do a twofer with this because I got too many Pacer ones at the top. So first Bronco one with Peyton there, the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, just that entire game. I mean,
how much of that game did you watch?
All of it, and it's the worst, the absolute worst situation to watch a game that you actually care about too.
Terrible. I can't believe you would do that to yourself.
No, well, I went to my now wife. We were just dating at the time, I believe. Yeah, and we went to a friend's house, and my wife doesn't care about sports. They don't care. The people that went to the house, they don't care. So they're just watching because it's a Super Bowl. I'm watching because it's my team. It was like I should not have. That was a really bad idea to just like watch this in that environment where no one else cares about this game, and I'm just seeing the opening snap go straight through the back of the end zone, safety, and then just a complete annihilation. Yeah, I think Demaryius Thomas, I want to say, scored the touchdown that like made it 43-8. Yeah, I was still watching when that was going on. Yeah, nightmarish evening that game was. And then my other Bronco one is, and it's probably worse, honestly, because they should have won this game. Broncos Ravens in the the divisional round. Joe Flacco throws the giant Hail Mary. Raheem Moore looks like a right fielder in Little League, flailing at the ball, can't track the ball like a little leaguer. And then Jacoby Jones catches it, goes in, and then the Broncos end up losing that game. Yeah, that one still picture that very clear in my mind. Those are my two football ones that I have.
Malice at the Palace ruined my my childhood fandom of the team. It's my number 3 most heartbreaking, worst moment as a fan. I vividly remember turning on Sports Center the next morning, and it was all that they could talk about. And they just kept replaying it over and over again. I remember at the time, my parents subscribed to the Indianapolis Star. I remember reading the Indianapolis Star, and the Star was just trashing the players. The narrative at the time, as I remember it being, 9 years old, was just super anti the players. I sort of like didn't have a bigger sense of all of the events, and I mean I didn't like watch the Pacers even like as a casual fan for like 8 or 9 years after that.
Yeah, that one's also my number 3. So we tied there. Yeah, I stayed up like that entire night, and I was still watching ESPN News at like 3 a.m. and they'd have a new angle and a new shot to show, and then it was just like, how long are these guys going to be suspended for? And then they dropped the hammer, and it was just like, oh, so basically
This is over.
the season's over. Reggie's best chance at a title is just gone. And then there were still some positive memories that came from that season, but it's just always the just giant what if of what could have been, especially with just how they dominated the Pistons that night.
As a theme, personally, we're the top 3 for me are in a completely different tier than numbers 4 and 5. And the theme of the top 3 for me, I did not. So I couldn't stop watching it the day after. I did not watch Malice at the Palace highlight, like nothing. I didn't YouTube it. I didn't ever look at it again until the Netflix show came out. And then I was like, okay. And I steeled myself and I mentally prepared and I watched it. But this is going to be a theme of my most heartbreaking moments. We've reached the point in the list where I cannot watch these anymore.
Yeah, the Netflix documentary just made everything worse too, because then it was like there was just all of these other things that like you take out of the equation and it doesn't happen, and it just made it so much worse knowing a few more of those things. So I took my time. I couldn't watch it right away. I had to wait. I had to like be in the right headspace to even go there. But yeah, that did not help. All right, you want to give your number 2?
Number 2, and I have still never voluntarily rewatched this moment. The 2010 men's college basketball national championship game, Duke versus Butler. I was at the game. Friend of a friend couldn't go, gave us tickets, and we were sitting. I was a big Butler fan, really, until like NIL and COVID. They made a coaching change. I was a huge Butler fan basically from like 2007 to 2020. And I still root for them now, but I was a huge fan then. So I had followed that team at that point for a couple of years. I obviously jumped on the bandwagon at the right time. We got tickets to this game, and we were sitting behind the backboard at which Gordon Hayward was shooting. And it just seared in my mind. I can see every moment of that play. I can see the screen that flattened Kyle Singler. I can see the ball getting out of Gordon Hayward's hand, and I can still track the ball in my mind's eye as I at first have no hope at all, then a little bit of hope, and then it hits the top of the square and it hits the rim. And for that 10th or quarter of a second, I was absolutely certain that ball does, because I had no idea how hard it had been shot. I'm behind the backboard. And for that 10th of a second, I was absolutely certain that the ball was going to bounce back against the backboard and back in through the net, and the Butler Bulldogs were going to win the national championship. And I've never rewatched it.
Those two runs are like my favorite college basketball things ever. Just incredible fun I have so many good memories from those. It's like it's weird that like I don't know, like that one doesn't hit me as hard, like heartbreak wise, just because everything was so fun about it, and I never expected them to even get that far. But yeah, worthy number two there.
I was
I'm all,
crushed. I was
like
completely distraught.
especially like being there and having that angle where it really feels like, oh, that's definitely going in. Like TV, you watch a half court shot, like you just don't know until it goes. But even
Yeah.
then, like just where it hit on the backboard, you think, yeah, maybe, and then yeah.
In my mind, the play is at like quarter speed. In my mind's eye, the play is not, when you see it from the side, it's so fast.
Yep.
But from where I was sitting, the ball was in the air for 5 seconds.
Yeah. So I'll do my number two. I'm all Pacers from here. I'll go with just the general death of the George Hill, Paul George, Lance Stevenson, David West, Roy Hibbert team. Just starting with that like game 6 against the Heat where just wasn't close. Same thing with the game 7 against the Heat the year before. Just like that final game, that elimination game, just they weren't there. It just wasn't close. And then the big one for this is just the Paul George leg injury. Just like in August, like I wasn't watching the USA scrimmage. I had no reason to. I hadn't started the Pacers blog yet or anything. And then yeah, I just get all these. I see all these messages on my phone. It's like, what? Paul George broke his leg. What? It's just
So
like
I
that.
missed. I neither watched the Paul George one. I think I can be forgiven for. I was like, I know where I was when Victor Oladipo tore his quadriceps tendon, but I didn't watch that either. That was just kind of like a fluke. I was like out at trivia with friends, and I like got the notification on my phone. And in both cases, not watching them lessened the emotional heartbreak for me.
Yeah, the I definitely eventually came across it and wish I didn't, of course, with the Paul
Oh,
George.
same. The Paul George one was horrible. That was horrible.
Horrible. And that's another one where it's just like all they had to do was have the stanchion at a proper distance away, and it just never happens.
Horrible.
So that one is definitely way up there for me. Uh, and just like Lance ended up leaving to the Hornets that summer. Roy gets dealt to the Lakers for a distant second round pick after Larry Bird just kind of throws him under the bus. And like that makes the way Larry Bird did that kind of makes David West end up just like declining a player option and going to the Spurs. That was just like such a quick death for a team that I really loved. And just all of that together, like that gif that somebody put together of like they had the starting lineup and then they all changed to their current uniforms, and it was just like instantly that whole starting lineup was just somewhere else.
Yeah.
It just happened all so fast. And I think Frank Vogel has talked about that too, where it felt like that team was going to be together for a really long time, and then it was just over all of a sudden.
Yep. I was more emotionally attached to the Victor Oladipo team. And so that in many ways was harder for me, but in both cases the team just gets like kneecapped. It's gone. It's not, there's no yeah, all
And I
very
think
big all at once.
and Kevin and I, when we were talking about the Daniel Jones injury, like the comparison is really the Victor Oladipo quad. Like you get this guy, you're not sure he's going to be anything,
Right.
and then he
Yeah.
becomes like this leader of your team that you think can maybe like take you pretty far in the playoffs. And then we don't even get to see Colts fans don't even get to see Daniel Jones kind of have his like go toe to toe with a big
I mean,
team in the playoffs.
they're not going to make the
So
playoffs. I don't think they're.
it's going to be very, very difficult, yeah, obviously. So,
Yeah.
And obviously Daniel Jones is going to be a part of that if they do.
Right.
So same kind of thing with like Oladipo. Yeah, the Pacers made the playoffs that year, but they're completely outmatched and couldn't even win a game in the playoffs if they did. So good luck to the Colts fans. Maybe Philip Rivers gives you something to be positive about, but it's brutal. And it's a similar kind of thing. Like Oladipo was like supposed to be like looked very so promising and all of that. And then we're just all of the wind just taken right out of you.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing we have the same number 1.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say.
So I'll say I will give the brief, what I was doing. So when I knew it was one of those things where like I realized when he slipped, I realized that he didn't get up. And I realized that he was out of the frame. And in the back of and all of our minds, I'm sure we had been thinking, and I was thinking this before game 6 more than game 7, that this was a possibility. I spent the entire rest of the first half. I was at the fan, like the viewing party at the arena, and I spent the entire rest of the first half walking the concourse just in circles. I would find a sofa. I'd sit down and watch a little bit of the game. I just couldn't bring myself to care about the game. I got up and I kept walking. I walked up to the top of the stadium. I walked all the way down. I would hear people cheer, and I just could not get myself to emotion. It was so, I was obviously aware, Andrew Nemhard hits the shot, they take the lead at halftime, and I'm obviously aware that they're in the game. And at the same time, I just didn't care anymore. And I tweeted at the time something along the lines of basically, this is the end of this version of the team. And it was absolutely the end of that version of the team. And Miles leaves. Now we're cycling through G League and hardship players in a season that we hope doesn't become a lost season. And my enduring memory of Game 7 is going to be the sofas on the lounge and suite level. As I just paced, I was the only one in the entire concourse. Everybody else in their seats, and I couldn't sit and watch the game.
Yeah, I'm at home. I made the wise choice. I went to OKC for game 1, and like when you're a media member, like you're not supposed to cheer, show emotion in the press box, and I just didn't want to like put myself in a situation where like I
You
couldn't
couldn't be a
just.
fan.
I just wanted to be a fan, and so I didn't go to game 7. Really glad I did it now, especially. So I'm at home. My kids were pretty young, like 7 and no, she would have just turned 8, so 8 and 5, and like I let them stay up to watch it, and then I just burst into tears, like the instant, like I'm already worried as soon as he goes down, but the instant they show that replay, it's just so obvious what happened.
Yeah.
So like,
I mean, the whole arena was screaming at the broadcast, to stop showing it. By the third time, I just like held my head in my hands and I couldn't look.
Yeah, and then I had the same kind of reaction as you, where it was really hard to care about anything that was happening in that game for a long time. It was just like it was the same thing at Tyrese in the Netflix documentary, where you're just hoping that like somehow this is like worth it, like just make it worthwhile, like find a way to win that game. But it was really, really hard to care like a ton about every little, like, oh, another turnover, oh, like, oh boy, like, yeah, it was just, that was the hardest night of a sports fan that I've ever had by far. There'll never be anything that tops it. It's
The
just,
only, I mean, I don't say, I think I'm saying this in earnestness. That is, we have reached like the peak. We are at the summit of sports tragedy. The only mountains and peaks beyond these are human tragedy, genuine catastrophe that, I mean, only a couple that almost never happens and that you never ever want to see anywhere. Damar Hamlin comes to mind, like human tragedy that's beyond sports. the Tyrese injury is like the peak of sports tragedy, and it was, you know, I live in New York. I see Knicks fans all the time. They talk to me about it, and I'm like, you just have no. They're like, they're mad at the Pacers, and I'm like, you cannot say anything to me. You don't know anything about what that was like. You don't know anything about the highs of winning. You don't know anything about the lows of losing. You have no sense of scale, and almost no fan base in the world does. Like, we got something from that run, both in the highs and in the lows, that I mean, I'm sure there's some soccer club somewhere in the world that exceeds this. But in American professional sports, there's nothing.
No, yeah, I don't. Yeah, there's no moment. I'd be hard pressed to like you give any other moment that would be more devastating to that one to a fan. I will say the one game that I considered to put in my top 5 was, other than this one in the NBA Finals of it all, is Game 4. Because in hindsight, though, because you think they win Game 4, you don't have to worry about Game 7. Maybe the calf strain in the first place doesn't even happen in Game 5. Like, you play that whole butterfly effect game, and you never know what's going to happen. But that one's the one that, like, in terms of a championship, really haunts me. Like, they had it, and it still feels like I haven't brought myself to rewatch that game. But it feels like they kind of felt it, and then like the wheels fell off a little too much on offense, and they didn't get it back in time, and SGA took advantage. My devil on my shoulder over here did his thing.
Yeah.
And there we are.
Yeah, I was angry at the time. I was very upset. I was upset at the officiating. I was upset at them letting it slip. It was a lonely drive home. And also, I knew, I had a pretty good sense coming in that the Pacers were going to have to win 2 on the road. I did not believe that they were going to go undefeated at home. I thought OKC was too good. They're up 2-1 in the finals. They're up in the fourth quarter. I can't fault them for blinking. It's the only time they ever blinked. It doesn't sit with, I don't want to rewatch the game, but it doesn't sit with me the way that other things do. Yeah, but I understand why you would say it, obviously.
It's up there. It's up there. Like, I almost put it on the top 5.
If I was going to give an honorable mention, my non-Pacers honorable mention, I'm a hater at heart in many instances and in many situations. Patriots Falcons, horrible. Absolutely awful. You know, I sometimes seeing your enemies succeed is even worse than watching your own team fail. And that was horrible. I was so up. I turned the game off when it went to overtime. I didn't even watch overtime. I was like, we know how the story ends. I don't even need to see it. I turned it off and went to bed.
Yeah. 2 of my favorite Super Bowls are the Eli Manning over Tom Brady for the same reason. Just like enjoying watching the Patriots lose. I love those.
Yes.
Those 2 Super Bowls were so great. So yeah, I agree with you in terms of just now I feel like we're becoming more evil by going this route. we're losing it here.
My Pacers honorable mention was the Herb Simon "My Little Team" remark. Unforgivable. I will never forgive him. Don't care. I don't care how old he is. I don't care what his mindset is, where he's saying that. No, it typified everything about that version of that team that sucked. Typified everything about why the front office and ownership at that time weren't ready to go all in to win a title. I hated it. It was that was a dark time for me as a fan, when there was, the treadmill of mediocrity years seemed really as if they might just endure. Do you have honorable mentions, or can I close on an optimistic note?
I got a couple honorable mentions that'll go, and then I'll let you close. Game 7 against the Chicago Bulls. I was very young, but that's one of the first like big.
I see. I have no memory of this. Yeah.
It's one of my first like big Pacer losses, major
You want to go
things.
one of the LeBron game winners just for fun? Just pick one of them.
There's multiple. The
I
game
got in an
5.
argument, by the way, with one of my friends who's not a Pacers fan at all, and they were saying, "Oh, but like, I don't remember who they're a fan of, but they were like, oh, I think it was the Raptors. The Raptors have lost to LeBron so many times," and I was like, "You don't understand. I'm going to Google this right now." Terrible.
Yeah. Well, the
Sorry, I
one
interrupted
thing
you.
you're
Continue with
good.
your honorable mentions.
I will say the one thing with Toronto and like Atlanta is they didn't even win a game against LeBron. So it wasn't ever like they had no shot ever. They just kept getting swept. So I will say, like, at least the Pacers like put up a fight, and but that
They were a
almost
tough
makes
out. They
that
were a
they
tough
were
out.
tough out. Gosh, I ran right into that. Thanks, Jason. Uh, but they gave us hope, and that's probably why those moments hit so hard, because you feel like they were close. So like you have the game 5, Victor Oladipo, the goaltend goes uncalled, and then he hits the 3. You have that one. You have the game 1, the Eastern Conference Finals. The first time that they played in the conference finals, Roy Hibbert comes out. Sam Young comes in. Sigh, sigh, sigh. Paul George overplays the inbounds. Wide open layup. Yeah, there's too many of those type of things. Those are definitely on the list. Yeah, those will be my honorable mentions.
Doing this exercise made me realize, and I am this way not just in sports, but in my own, like, just in general in life, I tend to be this way. I It is easier for me to think of wins and successes in sports and competition than it is to find heartbreak. And you know, the top of this list is very, very heartbreaking. I mean, for the Pacers run to end the way it did is, I think we both agree, like, as heartbreaking as it gets in sports. Nobody's really had it quite that bad, and I hope no one ever does, honestly. But making this list, I realized that there are just so many. It is so easy. I feel like as an Indianapolis sports fan, like, I picked the Butler, you know, Gordon Hayward shot that he missed, and that team also gave us unbelievable, unbelievable runs. Like, absolutely insane. IU just won the Big Ten title against Ohio State. The Colts have been, you know, a part. There was obviously, this isn't entirely true, but the Colts gave us reliable playoff appearances over and over, and they were awesome to watch. Peyton Manning at the end of a game, I always believed they were going to win, and they did a lot of the time. And the Pacers run that just concluded ended with, like, Aaron Gordon made a game-winning dunk as time expired on a missed shot, and the Pacers arguably have 2 games, maybe even 3, cooler than that. It was incredible, and I feel like for however long we dwell in hell, doing this purge of the bad fandom helped me appreciate that there's a much longer list of good things, at least for now.
I feel like the bad things are very easy to pop up for me. I don't know what it is, but I do agree with you. We have lots of good memories. I'm definitely there with the Butler, because I don't remember the bad with the Butler as much as I remember all the fun and all the good from those runs. Uh, all right, I think that wraps it up for us tonight.
Hopefully, I never have to watch Scott Foster's tape and praise him. That's my current ambition.
It feels like our penances are like the Brad Wanamaker thing. I don't know what the record is since then, but they're like close to 500 since I made the Brad Wanamaker highlight reel. So I apologize to those of you who are rooting for the tank. Maybe I should have done a worse job, I guess. But Rick Carlisle's trying. I'm telling you, he's trying. Just look at that lineup at the start of the fourth quarter.
So
He's
bad.
doing his best.
So bad. Ugh.
All right. We'll log off on this one. We'll let you know. I'll put it in the comments at some point. Also, when our next game is going to be
We got
sometime next
Knicks
week.
in 10 days. It might
So
be that game.
I think it's got to be the Knicks. So Knicks game, that'll be the one. We'll see you next time. Later.